Hi everyone, Bernard here. Welcome to the latest Citizen vlog, and this is a Citizen Past, and this is sort of the latest date we've done so far on these. We're going to take a look back at the month of April in Manchester City's world, a little bit about what's happening in the UK as well, just for your information, just to remind you. It's only 18 years ago now, isn't it? So this is the shortest length of time I've took a trip back on one of these. April's always an interesting month, isn't it? I mean, things are coming to a crunch, aren't they, on the relegation, promotion, or it always seems to be one or the other with City, isn't it? We never seem to have many quiet mid-table seasons, do we? There's always something going on. So we're going to look back at April 2002 today. If you're new to the channel, please push your subscribe button. That'll be great. Push the bell notification, and all these little Citizen vlogs and specials are coming out. And thumbs ups are always nice. Always nice to be appreciated. Very much appreciated. Right, let's get on with March 2002. April even. We finish at March. I mean, there's a couple of bits in from March, but obviously I'm talking about April 2002, not March. And what made me think of March was on the 30th of March. Sadly, the Queen Mum died, passed away on the 30th of March. That's why I've got March on my mind. Obviously, the funeral was in April, etc. It was a very sad time. Very popular lady, the Queen Mum. Obviously, perhaps some of the younger watchers of this won't really remember the Queen Mum, but we thought she'd last forever, but obviously she didn't, and she passed away on the 30th of March. So just a couple of days before the month we're looking at. Tony Blair was the Prime Minister of New Labour, as it was called then. On TV, what do we have? Well, obviously the big highlight in April was obviously the Queen Mother's funeral, which was the largest ever outside broadcast. Sort of getting away from the more serious things, the TV programme, The Bill, a police thing, if you remember that. 6 characters of that were killed off in one episode on the 18th of April in a petrol bomb attack. So they wanted to cut the wage bill, obviously, and chop a few off. On the 20th of April, Jim Davidson, there's a Nick. He left the Generation Game on the 20th of April, if you remember the old Generation Game. 21st of April, the Blackadder Back and Forth debuted on the BBC. So one of my favourite series, Blackadder. And the 26th of April, a 16-year-old Charlotte Church was the youngest ever person to take part in Have I Got News for You? So probably the less said about that, the better. Film-wise, highest grossing film, 2002. So we're going back to Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, Harry Potter, Chamber of Secrets, Spider-Man, Star Wars 2, Attack of the Clones, Men in Black 2. They were all highest grossing in 2002. On video, we had video and DVD. Then DVDs were obviously taking off in the UK alongside video. We had things like 13 Ghosts, Mulholland Drive, Spy Game, Domestic Disturbance, Will Smith, of course, in the biographical drama Ali as well. Singles, if you like your music, we had for 3 weeks of April, we had Gareth Gates at #1 with Unchained Melody. He was in #1 for 4 weeks. And we also had 1 week of The Hindu Times from Oasis at #1. Albums, we had Celine Dion at 3 weeks at #1 with A New Day Has Come. And we had a band, if you remember them, called Blue. Nothing to do with City. They were called Blue. And it was called All Rise, spent a week at #1 as well. Prices wise, I mean, obviously only 18 years ago, so these are quite interesting. I mean, the average house costs £76,465, which is about 114,000 in today's money. Salary was about 18,000, which again was about 27,000 in today's money. That was a healthy salary. I could do with that now myself. Average car was £13,000 in 2002, which was today's price, just over 19,500. Petrol a litre, that's an interesting one, wasn't it? I mean, it's 79p a litre, 118 in today's prices, which if you go to the petrol station today, for instance, you probably will get it for 118, although it was about the 130s a couple of weeks ago. Sugar, which is an interesting one, a bag of sugar was 62p, which I think you'll probably get that now for 62p, 65p, which obviously is equivalent to 92p in today's money, so that's gone down. And a pint of milk in 2002 was £1.44, which is equivalent to £2.15. I mean, it only costs you about £1.10p for a big litre thing now, doesn't it? So that was quite interesting. Personally, I mean, I myself, I had a little video shop in the 90s and the 2000s. So I was still plodding along in my video shop in Manchester in the year 2002. My son Mark was 18, so he was a regular visitor to the matches with me. So a lot of these matches we talk about today, we would have attended, myself and my lad Mark. Obviously, the girls had been to football with me. Obviously his sisters, but obviously as girls are girls, they got a little bit. Football wasn't their thing, so obviously you can tell that because they're now partnered up with United fans, so you can tell football wasn't their thing. To end up meeting a United fan anyway. So that was sort of the personal side for me. What about City? Well, City, we had, of course, in charge Kevin Keegan, in charge of Manchester City, and we had high hopes at the start of the 2001-2002 season. We had really high hopes for that season in the Nationwide Division 1 as it was then. Don't forget, we'd obviously been the playoffs 2 or 3 seasons before, beating Gillingham to get back where we thought we belonged. And obviously Kevin Keegan had been brought in to take us that extra little step up, hasn't he? But it was a sluggish start by City in that year, 2001-2002, and we found ourselves in October, November dipping down to 9th place. So it wasn't overly impressive, but we did have a good run in late November and December, and we actually hit top spot temporarily anyway on January the 1st, 2002. So that looked really good. But then again, we had a little bit of inconsistency, a little bit of a stutter. And so in late February and March, we ended up back in 2nd place, which wasn't too bad at all. But then we ended up getting a painful defeat at Stockport County. We went to Edgeley Park in March and were beaten by Stockport. I mean, talk about the lows of the lows. Yeah, we were still 2nd in the league, but to be beaten by Stockport County was on the back of a main road game, which we're not going to talk about here because we're not talking about that as well. To get beat at Stockport as well was absolutely shattering. But that sort of summed up City's season that season. But as we come to April, we played our last game on the 30th of March. So it was the Easter period. So when it came to beginning April, we were actually 5 points clear at the top of the league. We'd on from 2nd and had a little, apart from the Stockport County hiccup, we'd done really, really well. So we're 5 points clear of Wolverhampton Wanderers, and we both played the same games. And there was only 4 games to play, and we were 5 points clear. So all things were looking really good. And I think West Brom were in 3rd, and they were 8 points back to us. So getting to the stage where we could actually clinch promotion now, which is quite interesting. So unusually enough, we were 5 points ahead of Wolves. What was our first game in April? On April Fool's Day? A trip to Wolves. So just by pure coincidence. So this was going to sort of decide it, wasn't it? I mean, a lot of these end games were actually on television as well. This was live on television, and the City were featuring a lot. And I think they featured the last 4 or 5 games. City were on television for every single one of them. And don't forget, this is while we're in the Nationwide Division 1. We're not a Premiership team as such, but obviously it showed how well we were doing. I mean, Wolves had Dave Jones was the manager of Wolverhampton Wanderers at the time. And in the programme, some great pictures. And you look at the kit. There's the kit. That's the kit we're wearing. I've got the goalkeeper's kit over there in the corner. Wonderful Sean Goat, one of my lads' favourites of all time, obviously before the bunch now, but great teams. Obviously the Joe Corrigans and the Keith McRae's, etc. And it tells you, and this is the Wolves programme, tells you where they all are now, which was quite interesting at the time. In the Wolves programme, which is quite a good little programme. It's very good. And what did that cost? It cost £2 to buy the Wolves programme. They had some good stats. Had some good stats of the crowds, and if you look at the crowds, obviously you can see City there, the sky blue line well across there. Obviously, our average crowd for this season was 32,886, and the next closest was Wolverhampton Wanderers with 23,447. So they were a good 9,000 below us, and the only other clubs who were getting just over 20,000 were West Bromwich Albion at 20,432, Sheffield Wednesday at 20,349, Nottingham Forest, consistent. There are consistencies, 21,886, and Birmingham City were getting 21,022, but we were a good 9,000 or so more higher than the actual second place team. So obviously a lot of games were selling out at Main Road. That was certainly in the second half of the season. And if you look at the squads, I mean, look at the size of the squads there. I mean, obviously it's showing Wolves' squad against ours. It looks quite small, doesn't it? But I think that's a little bit unfair. I think City had everyone but the tea lady, etc., on that sort of information there. Well, what was the lineup? The lineup that day, obviously, the Wolves had Michael Oakes in goal, the wonderful Michael Oakes, son of the super City legend Alan Oakes, of course. So they had Michael Oakes in goal. Would he do us a favour? And also in defence, they had a very young gentleman called Jolyon Lescott. So Wolves had Mr. Lescott in defence, and I think Mr. Lescott was shown a couple of things by I think it was Huckabee. Huckabee actually gave him a torrid time during this game. Our lineup for the day was Nash in goal, Carlo Nash, Stuart Pearce, Dunn, Howie, Sean Wright-Phillips, Horlock, Benarbia, Jensen, Sunji High, Macken, and Huckabee. We didn't have any subs. There's no subs used that day. It was just purely as it was. The crowd was 28,015, so well up on Wolverhampton's average, with City taking 2,931. And yeah, we did. It was on television. It was quite a hard game. I mean, we actually went 1-0 up with a Sean Wright-Phillips goal, which took a wicked deflection and actually wrong-footed Oakes, and it put City 1-0 up. But it wasn't all City's way, and in the second half, Wolves did have a real go. They came very, very close to a equaliser once or twice, and it wasn't until the 80th minute that Sean Wright-Phillips added to his tally and scored from 20 yards, leaving Michael Oakes with no chance. So City won, very important. So that put us 8 points ahead of Wolves. West Brom did actually win as well, so we couldn't guarantee promotion for City, but we were almost there. Literally with 3 games left, we just really needed 1 point, and that was without any of the other teams dropping points. But on the 5th of April, Millwall 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. So before our next game, Wolves had been beat, which meant we were promoted. So on the Friday night before we went on to play our next game, which is going to turn into a little bit of a party. You know, our next game was against Barnsley at Main Road on Saturday, 6th of April 2002. Our programme, just £2 there. So it was a little bit of a party atmosphere. We hadn't clinched promotion. I mean, we could do that, obviously, but by actually beating Barnsley. But obviously that had to be done, didn't it? This is City. Was there going to be any problem for us? Well, we'll have to see, won't we? But had a great little piece there from the chairman talking about the thoughts of promotion and what it could mean to us, obviously, from Mr. David Bernstein. There's a great piece on there from him. The manager for Barnsley was a gentleman called Steve Parkin. I don't remember that guy too much, Steve Parkin. He was the manager of Barnsley. Some great little questions there. I mean, obviously, Mike Sherrin was featured because he obviously was linked with Barnsley at the time. So obviously he'd been a player for Manchester City, as you know. That's a good thing, isn't it? The Siemens Mobile. I like the Siemens Mobile. Absolutely fantastic. That's some action from the Wolverhampton game. We won 2-0. Shawnee Wright-Phillips in action from the Wolves game that we won out. You know, winners by 2 goals to 0. And look at that. I mean, that's a great picture of Sunji in the middle. You used to have a little thing in the middle. So if you had younger kids, you could buy a couple of programs and let them tear that out and put it up as a picture and a poster in the bedroom, couldn't you? That's fantastic with the old IDOS kit there, with the old Kappa IDOS. So yeah, that was obviously the league title as it stood then. But obviously it didn't show that Wolves had actually been beaten, because obviously this was the day after. So as you can see from that, we were guaranteed promotion at least to back to where we belong, into the Premier Division. The team that day, the City team that day, well, similar again. Nash, Dunn, Howie, Pearce, Sean Wright-Phillips, Benarbia, Horlock, Tiato, Jensen, Macken, and Huckabee. And we actually used 3 subs: Vikings, Matamo. Do you remember Matamo? I do not remember that. I remember the name, so I think I don't remember much about it. And also Sunjai was a sub that day. And it was a comfortable win. for City. There's a couple of little times when we're a little bit worrying, but it was a party time for City on and off the pitch, and Mr. Bernabé was pulling the strings as he did for a lot of those games in front of a crowd of 33,628, which was included 909 Barnsley. It probably could have been a few more, but obviously with the segregation, only 900 Barnsley fans there. It was a little bit down perhaps on the 34,000 plus we could have managed. Huckabee hat-trick, Darren Huckabee hat-trick, and a Mac and brace actually made it a comfortable 5-1 victory for City. And the actual Mac and brace is I think it was the second goal was the 100th for City that season in this season. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Obviously, we're trying to break certain records by the end of the season in a couple of games' time. But obviously, a Huckabee hat-trick and a Mac and brace. And just the day after to celebrate this, obviously, I mean, very poignant actually. There's a little picture of the little thing, a procession for the Queen Mother. This wasn't the actual funeral, but this is when she's been moved to where she's going to lie in state or whichever it was. So obviously that was significant with the Queen Mum and Harry and Will. Harry and Will's remembering things about the Queen Mother. But obviously it was featured City's the thing of Mr. Keegan, champion. I think he's taking a bow there. This is the Sunday Mirror. I mean, this Mirror have always been okay with City, even though they do have a go at us from time to time. A great image there. Obviously, no trophy yet. We'd just we'd just won the league and obviously gained promotion by beating Barnsley 5-1. So obviously the trophy would come in the last game of the season, which we'll talk about in a minute. So again, the match report. City turn on the Premiership style. There's some great things there. It's interesting when I keep those things as well. When you see other news as well, it's always nice to see what's going on in the rest of the world. So that was happy days. Celebrations went on late in the night at Main Road that day, and that night that was very enjoyable. Back to where we should be. Obviously, we still had a couple of games left, and we had a trip on the 13th of April 2002 to Gillingham. Obviously, if you think back 3 seasons before when we were playing them in the playoffs and that important game we had against them. And that is obviously mentioned in the programme itself. Andy Hessenthaler, the Gillingham manager. Remember Andy Hessenthaler? So he was the Gillingham manager for that game. Great little squad picture of City there. Obviously, we're taken earlier in the season, or with the Eidos tops on. To look back. And it was a sort of laser blue, wasn't it? It wasn't the sky blue anymore, was it? It was a sort of laser blue. And the squad's quite a bit more even that time, not like the Wolves game where we're showing us loads of differences. And obviously you're talking we're already done out, we're already champions. So it's quite easy to take a step back, wasn't it? I mean, Gillingham, just mentioning Barnsley actually 21st. They were struggling against relegation, so that didn't do that. It was happiness for us, but Barnsley, that didn't help them in their quest to stay in the first division either. So I forgot to mention that. Yeah, it was a shame for Barnsley. So I'll mention that again in a little bit. But yeah, Gillingham were 12th. They were directly. I mean, there's 24 teams in the Nationwide Division 1 then, so they were exactly halfway. So it's 12th place Gillingham to play Champions City. The City team, again, similar to what it has been. Nash, Howie, Dunn, Pearce, Horlock, Jensen, Benabia, Sean Wright-Phillips, Chiato, Gota, Macken, and the subs that were used were Huckabee, Matomo again, and G. High, similarly to the game against Barnsley. A crowd of 9,494 with 1,320 City fans. I mean, I'm sure that was a sellout. That's all the City fans were given. And Mr. Benabia, a little bit of a masterclass from him again. And again, Gillingham fought well. They didn't lie over, they didn't roll over, and City didn't play as though they were on the beach. It was quite a good game, and it was goals from Horlock, Gota, and Huckabee, all leading to in the end a comfortable 3-1 win. Although it wasn't always as comfortable as it sounds. So again, that put us on 96 points. So it's a shame, isn't it? I mean, we talk about the 100 points now. That actually put us on 96 with just 1 game to go. And obviously, again, as in the last game at Main Road, there was an even better party atmosphere for this one. Obviously, which would be our old traditional historic rivals, Portsmouth, who obviously I've talked about on many cities and past vlogs in the old days of the various confrontations with Portsmouth. And they weren't having a great season. I think they were safe, but they were 17th, so there's no way they could have gone down. It was 2014, but they didn't have a great season. Portsmouth, obviously, they're celebrating Ali Banabi. There's Toothless Grin. If you see his grin there, he was actually named our Player of the Year probably by a long way, to be honest with you. And obviously, we was talking about inside tracking. Obviously, it was Stuart Pearce's last game for City, and obviously he was stuck on 99 goals. So if he'd scored a goal, he would have got a nice round 100, wouldn't he? So, and also City were actually just short of breaking their all-time goal scoring record as well. So that would be interesting to see how this would pan out. If we scored 4, we would break our record, which stands at 108 goals in a season. So that was quite interesting at the time for league games. Mr. Harry Redknapp was the manager of Portsmouth. So obviously familiar times with Harry Redknapp, haven't we? Some great images from the Gillingham game as well there. So Huckabee and Gota. Some great action shots and a great red and black away kit as well. I didn't have that one. I've got the one with First Advice on, but I didn't have that one. But that's great, isn't it? That's a great kit, the red and black one. Some more action pictures from the Barnsley game. John Macken there. Darren Huckabee again. Ali Banabi. Some great pictures there. Season tickets, so obviously advertising the season tickets. I mean, they hadn't sold out by then. I mean, just for instance, your Kippax lower was £360 if you bought before the end of May. Platt Lane was £320. Family Stand £245. The North Stand, which I spent a lot of time on this time, was £310. I used to give my lads mates a ticket for the Kippax, my season ticket. I used to get a ticket for the North Stand or obviously it would be the Gene Kelly stand eventually, wouldn't it? I'd be in one of those as well. So I used to do the good thing and let my lad go with his mate, and I'd get a ticket elsewhere. Obviously, with the game to go, as you can see, 10 points clear there at the top of the table. But notice it's West Bromwich. So Wolves a point behind, so obviously there's still a fight on between who was to go up between West Bromwich and Wolves automatically, so that was quite interesting. So Wolves have been displaced after a couple of the poor games for them. There's a great pull out as well in that magazine, in this Match magazine, which is great for putting on your wall, and I'll put it on my wall here sometimes. But absolutely great pull out. So that came free with the program. And I used to love those sort of things that I could stick on my wall, etc. I mean, the City team, again, it's the last game of the season, but, we're trying to break records. Of course, Mr. Pearce was going to play, wasn't he? Trying to get his 100th goal. So we had Nash, Pearce, Dunn, Howie, Horlock, Jensen, Banabi, Sean Wright-Phillips, Tiato, Gota, Huckabee, and subs who came on, Vikings, Macken, and Berkovic. So Al Berkovic, I think he'd suffered an injury, so that was in his first appearances for a little while. So you tend to forget Berkovic, don't you, when all the glory about Ali Banabi. For Portsmouth, Dave Besant was in goal. You remember Dave Besant from his Wimbledon days and his heroics against Liverpool in the FA Cup final? He was in goal for Portsmouth. A good crowd, 34,657. You couldn't really shoehorn many more people in, to be honest with you. That was the capacity at the time, allowing for segregation and whatever away support there was. We did go ahead with a great, there's actually on YouTube, if you look back, there's a season review available of 2001, 2002. So you can look at specific times. And obviously the first great Howie back header gives City the lead, and Gota added to that from a shot off the post. Portsmouth did try to ruin things a little bit. They did pull a goal back. So they made it not nervy because we were already there. We already won the league. But they did try and ruin it a little bit. And it wasn't until the 86th minute that John Macken, fantastic goal where he just put it over the keeper's head to give City a 3-1. But more was to come, wasn't it? We wanted 4, didn't we? We just wanted to break the record. We wanted to see Stuart Pearce to score 100 goals. And yes, we got a penalty. It may have been a bit dubious. We're not too sure. Perhaps the referee was kind. It is said that Mr. Besant said he would just stand still and let Stuart Pearce score it. But, well, no, it wasn't going to end. It's typical City, even on a day like this where we've obviously got 99 points back to the Premiership. It was typical City, wasn't it? He blasted it over the bar, Stuart Pearce, so he never got his 100th goal, and I think it annoyed him. The fact, I think if David Besant has just kept his gob shut and just stood still, not tell Pearce. I mean, this is the idea that he's got to just stand still and let him score. But I think his pride, obviously, so he just tried to welly it and just as much as he can, and it just a good foot over the bar, I think, from memory. And obviously, he was denied his 100th goal. City were denied breaking their own record. So again, even on a great day like this, it was a little bit a case of typical City. Obviously, there's various pullouts, MEM pullouts on the 22nd of April, Championship special pullout. I mean, you do a better one. Happy in blue heaven there. Perfect day. God smiles on sunny Moss side. Yeah, great header. Great lead up. And they put these dark blue. After obviously they changed out the normal kit and put these dark blue things on at the end of the game. And then you did have the special, obviously, from the evening news, which obviously with Bernabeu and the league trophy there, absolutely fantastic. Been great for that. And there was Kevin Keegan with Arthur Cox, his right-hand man sort of thing there. Kevin Keegan all happy and joyous. And then some great champagne pictures, champagne flowing, champions. One thing good about the evening news, at least they do some reasonable specials, don't they? Some action from the season, including obviously Mr. Golter in the IDOS kit. Absolutely fantastic. Golden Wonders. That's because of the 100. We equalled the record anyway, the 108 goals. We did equal our all-time record. Finally, an image with the trophy. Stuart Pearce holding up, looking a bit grumpy there, isn't he? I mean, I don't know where. That's that one where obviously Kevin Keegan was doing his bowing to the crowd there, but. I think Mr. Keegan enjoyed it, didn't he? He had some good and bad times, and some images of the fans as well there, which is always nice when you see the fans as well and how happy. I wonder what this little lad's doing now. I wonder if he's still there. I wonder if he's still going now. 18 years ago, so it's going to be early 20s. Best fans in the land. Some people try to deny that, don't they? We're not thinking on about 108 fantastic goals. So even the Cheshire Build Society was getting involved. And of course, we finished the season. Obviously, we still have the Manchester City magazine, which is on the thumbnail for this, which is absolutely fantastic. Some great images of fans there as well. So if you recognise yourself on that, you may even have the magazine, So it's great to look at if you're on it. I mean, I always look at these just in case I'm captured anywhere. But again, some great pictures. It's a good magazine. It's a shame. I mean, I'll talk about this in one of my other City Pass vlogs. The Manchester City was called, went on to be called Man C, remember, Mank magazine. But it was really good because you can put things in and add things to what you get in the programme and stuff like that. Some great images. So it's always good to have them. And it's a shame that we don't still have the magazine. And that's again Mr. Bernstein holding the trophy, which is nice. You don't often see the pictures of the chairman holding the trophies, do you? Obviously, you've got your celeb fans as well, where they wear Castro wooden, the Gallaghers and stuff like this, Ricky Hatton, all this sort of thing, which, they've always been there, and they do get that. We don't get the opportunity to do that, do we? But that's just how it is, and that's a great picture of our player of the year, Ali Bernabeu, isn't it? Just a real, got his false tooth back in there, obviously. And obviously, it was a time because it's a magazine. It wasn't just all about celebrating, but this guy was being welcomed as well for the first season back in the Premiership. A certain Peter Schmeichel would play a season for us, wouldn't he? So yeah, that was an interesting season, wasn't it? Great picture of John Macken there. Do you remember John Macken? A great picture of Kevin with the trophy. So yeah, the fans on the back. So that was great. I mean, that's just it's good to have those memories. And they say the evening news when they do the yearly season up thing as well, things like that are always fantastic to get now, even though you've probably read it and seen most of it. But that was a great season, wasn't it? I mean, yeah, obviously Barnsley, did they get relegated? Try and find, I'm not going to tell you. You see if they did. And who came up? Did Wolves come up or did West Bromwich come up? Yeah, just have a quick look. It's always nice. I mean, I don't want to give you too much information, but And it's nice all finished by April as well. Obviously, it didn't go into May because obviously with the Nationwide Division 1, you obviously had playoffs, etc. So it had to be all done and dusted, didn't it, by the end of April. So that was absolutely fantastic. Thanks for joining me for that and looking back at 2002 with the aid of programs and various little paper cuttings, etc., etc. Please check with my little Citizen blogs, past and present. There's a March 1992 one out there. So obviously this is the April 2002. So go back another 10 years, see how we were doing in March 1992. We're actually going for a league title that year. We started March in third spot with an outside chance of the league. We were a little bit behind Leeds and Manchester United, but that's an interesting. Please, all the links are below and on the end cards, etc. Just suss that one out. And I've also done a Pep quiz recently about Pep Guardiola. How much do you know about our wonderful manager Pep Guardiola? I scored pretty poorly, to be honest with you, but that's out there as well. I'll put all the links below, so please seek that out. And of course, part 5 of the City history from 1924-25 to 1933-34. So please seek that out. Part 4, 3, 2, and 1, all there as well. So please have a look at those and seek them out. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Please, as I said, follow me on Twitter for all the latest City news and movie news. If you're into movies, you know I do movie vlogs as well about movies and TV drama, etc. Follow me on Twitter at nostalgia_movie for all the latest news on football and TV and films. I'm on Bernard Deneen at Facebook with links to movieGameNostalgia.com, my little website where I sell little rare DVDs, posters, and board games on there. If you can spend a couple of minutes on there, fantastic. Anyway, thanks for joining for this today. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of your memories. What are your memories of that season? Did you go to Gillingham? Did you go to Wolves? I mean, as I said, they were showing the games on television, which was ideal because obviously you just couldn't get a ticket for love nor money. I know it's an old thing, isn't it? But it was even those days before this loyalty scheme where you needed like 30,000 just to get a ticket these days. Point, it was even harder perhaps in those days than it is now. But let me know your memories of that April. And the weather was okay, I think, as well, wasn't it? I don't think the weather was that bad. But please let me know what you think and let me know your memories of that time. Anyway, thanks for watching. What are you going to do the rest of the day? Look after yourself, look after your friends, and more importantly, look after family. And hopefully you'll join me very soon for another one of these little specials, either past or present. Thanks for watching. This is Bernard saying goodbye for now.